on, guys? Ed here at Echo 24 Tactical. Hope you guys are all doing well this Sunday morning, or whenever you guys are watching this. It's currently October 30th, so happy Halloween. Most likely I will not be doing anything on YouTube tomorrow. Make sure you guys are enjoying yourself with your friends, your family, your kids, what have you. Dixie, I can tell she's not too happy. She's wearing my old 8-point cap from the Navy. It's Halloween, though. Want me to take it off? Alright, come here. Sit. Alright. Lie down. So there's a couple topics I wanted to talk about today. One of them was a lot of people are using the term for cheap, affordable ARs as poverty pony. It's funny, it is. But at the same token, they're giving mil-spec manufacturers that I feel make a phenomenal rifle a perception that nobody wants to purchase these days. As people are starting to get into the industry, as they're starting to become of age, when they're doing their research on what they're going to purchase, when they're looking at their budget while staring at their credit card, believe me, the credit card can be a real danger to your lifestyle, especially when you're young. And the manufacturer in question that I want to talk about, and this will also follow suit with other affordable manufacturers, but Anderson Manufacturing. So when I was in the service, I bought my first AR-15 after extensive research without getting too crazy. Sure, I wanted a Daniel Defense, but at the time, E2 pay, you cannot afford a Daniel Defense. That's like 2.5 months of pay. And without really understanding realistically that mil-spec is the same dimension across the board unless somebody does something proprietary to themselves, you realistically have a good fundamental rifle that you can practice with, defend your house with, defend your family with, whatever you want to do with that rifle. And I want to say probably for the past 8 months or so, when Anderson Manufacturer comes out of somebody's mouth, the AM-15s, somebody follows up with, oh, that's poverty pony, oh, that stuff's terrible, nobody wants to buy that stuff anymore, this and that. I want to give my own opinion of my Anderson that I had, when did I go in the Navy? 2012. So I probably purchased in 2013 or 14. And I recently just sold it to a coworker who was looking to get into the industry. Let's see here. So probably it's 2023 now. I probably had it for a decade. And I loved that rifle. I was happy with that rifle. You know? Let me see here. So I probably paid, so I think I bought the upper and the lower separately, but I still bought them from Anderson. I think I bought one that may have had like a better Magpul stock or something. I forget how I originally had it configured. And then I just kind of added to it later and played with it and made it my own. And talk about like poverty pony, you know, I put a Rise Armament flat face trigger in it. Everybody's like, why'd you do that? That's poverty pony and blah blah blah. I don't know, it's fundamentally a really good trigger for a reasonable price without shooting a mil-spec trigger. And it did a great job. Now this Anderson, did it ever have any malfunctions? It only did when a friend of mine decided to bring out ammo that he was creating or manufacturing or reloading, and he goes, oh, you gotta shoot my stuff. I think I had to run a rod down the barrel every third shot because the casings kept getting stuck inside of it. That's the only time I really encountered any issue with that rifle. How far back was that? When was that? I don't know. But it was at the Elmhurst Game Commission range in Pennsylvania. I can tell you that. That barrel was a 16-inch barrel. Um, I think what did I put on there at the time? The Jerry Michelet compensator is what I put on there. Once again, 40 bucks. Threw it on there, made it work. You know, honed my skills with the weaponry that I was using in the military, and when I went home or when I was off, this is what I would shoot with. It had a 5.56 barrel. It had a 1 in 8 twist. I think I had like the generic 6-inch, 6 or 7-inch round-looking M-lock rail that was offered by Anderson at the time. So I had a lot of barrel exposed. I am a left-handed shooter, so I eventually got the bad lever, I believe by Magpul. I got a 3.9 by 9 or 3.6 by 9 loophole on it. I made it mine. I customized it. I loved it. I played with it. I used it. I took care of it. It did have the RF85 treatment on it. Everybody's like, oh, bogus, doesn't work, stuff like that. I don't know. I did exactly what they said. I kept the solvents out of the barrels. You know, I never lubed it, never did anything. I just washed it with soap and water and dried it real well when I was done. It did an amazing job. You know, in the service, when you're taking your M4s, you're literally just pasting on CLP, and that gun is just soaked inside. And then once it became all gunked up, or if it was too dry, you always ran into functioning problems with the firearms and stuff like that. You had to continue to run that stuff wet. My AR was dry. It was bone dry. I don't know, in 10 years, how many rounds I put through it? 10,000 rounds? 8,000 rounds? 12,000 rounds? I don't know. I used it. I used it a lot. I never put a drop of lube in it. So that RF85 treatment is real. It does a really, really good job. I later put a Stinger handrail on it, STNGR. I believe at the time he was just a family-owned rail-making guy at the time. I don't know. I don't even know if they're still in business. But I slid that on. I got a, I think it was called like the Raptor rail or something. I got like a 15-inch Raptor rail. You know, just added my own little touch to it. Thought it was cool looking. That's all I really did to it. And at 100 yards, well, at 50 yards, taking my time, shooting 55 grain standard ball range ammunition. I was shooting like half-inch groups at 50 yards, and at 100 yards I was shooting maybe inch and a half inch groups, 3 or 5 round shots. I was very, very, very impressed with the Anderson barrels. Once again, people make fun of them. Oh, they're this, they're that. I get it. I get it. I know there's reasons why you would invest more money into a different barrel and stuff like that. But realistically, when you're looking at the fundamental idea of you want to get into an AR-15, you want to own one, you want to practice with one, these Andersons are remarkable. You know, I'm not... Poverty Pony out of an affordable AR-15 will never come out of my mouth. Because I've been there, I've used them, and I've played with them. I've seen high-end rifles run into more problems than a low-end rifle. And I'm not saying there's not low-end rifles out there that have run into problems or stuff like that. Realistically, I'm just here to say, if you're looking at an Anderson, don't let your buddy talk you into a Radian or a Daniel Defense or an LWRC or a Knight's Armament and spend an arm and a leg just to feel like you got something awesome. The Anderson, the Aero, they do just fine. They work very, very, very well. Um, and I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Anderson Manufacturing is the reason why I love 1 in 8 barrels. I don't currently have a 1 in 8 barrel, but if somebody comes to me and goes, "What twist rate should I get?" I would highly recommend a 1 in 8 barrel. It shoots everything relatively really good. You know, you don't have to worry about too heavy of loads or too light of loads. It's just the best all around barrel twist. Um, right now I own 1 in 7s. It's because I have a lot of Daniel Defense uppers and everything. In time, as I got out of the military, in time, as I created a family, in time, as I got a better job and did better for myself, I bought myself nicer things. Um, but I will still never talk down to somebody who has an Anderson or has an Aero or has another lower or cheaper end manufacturer, um, because sometimes it's all they can afford. Um, and I don't want you to put a $3,000 rifle on your credit card or a $2,000 rifle on your credit card. Then you go out and you buy your flashlight, which is $250, and you go out and buy the optic, which is anywhere between $500 and $2,000. Then you go out and just start adding these accessories to this firearm. Before you know it, you got $3 to $6,000 invested without getting super crazy. And if you could pick up a complete rifle that relatively does a really good job and allows you to fundamentally get used to that rifle, and or just keep a affordable rifle that'll do you well. I don't know what these rifles cost anymore, but between $800 to $1,100, do it. I am sitting here to tell you to do it. I know I'm going to ruffle a lot of feathers with that. But let's look at the flip side of things. You know, let's talk about wealth and money. 1% of the world makes over $100,000 a year. Let that sink in. So when you talk to everybody, or you talk to these millions of people on YouTube, or you talk to these millions of people you meet at the range and stuff like that, they all have like a damn near a gorgeous rifle or a gorgeous handgun. And they all felt like they had to spend that money in order to get it. And some guys are spending years paying that off on their credit card, and they don't even have the money to get ammo to learn how to shoot it because their rifle costs too much. Or they go out and they buy a $2,000 rifle, and then they got some Amazon optic for $20 sitting on top of that rifle. I don't think that's how you should be going about finding a firearm setup that's going to work for you. You have to remember, it's not the Aero, it's the Indian. So if you get something that's going to work, or, excuse me, if you are looking to get something that everybody else is shooting, or what SOCOM's shooting, or Grand Thumb, he has a lot of awesome stuff. If you're buying what he has because he says it's awesome, it probably is really awesome. But you have to have a heart-to-heart to yourself on, number one, can I afford this? Number two, do I really need that? And I'm going to sit here and tell you, no, you do not really need that. In time, as you grow, as you evolve, as you do better for yourself in life, you know, you put savings away, you've bought a house, you moved out of your parents' house, stuff like that, then go ahead and treat yourself to something nice. You know, but you guys that are 18 to 24 years old buying $2,000 to $4,000 rifles, I think that's absolutely absurd, unless you absolutely need that for whatever's going on in your life. Another thing is I'm tired of politics. I'm talking about deer running around with Kevlar vests, and do you really need these type of weapons? Because deer are running around with Kevlar vests. And I started that nicely, and I'm going to end this nicely. The Second Amendment was not written for hunting. So no, the deer and the animals and the squirrels, and they will not be running around with Kevlar vests. The Second Amendment was written to defend against tyranny, to defend yourself against other enemies, foreign and domestic, and it's designed for weapons of war. And I know that's gonna ruffle some more feathers, um, but I just wanted to throw that in one of these videos, and I'm sure you and I, if you're watching this video, and when I'm looking at other people's videos, and all of us within the gun community, I feel we all kind of have the same mindset on that. We all have the same understanding of that. But I just wanted to say it. So yeah, I'll just leave on this note. You know, if you're looking at an Aero, if you're looking at an Anderson manufacturer, don't let somebody tell you, oh, that's poverty pony, don't buy that. Do what's within your budget, what's going to work for you, and make sure you leave yourself enough room to where you can go out and you can shoot several hundred or several thousand rounds a month. Go out and learn that weapon system. Put your finger behind the trigger. You will not learn how to shoot looking at YouTube videos. I know a lot of guys, they are great guys, but they rely on what they see on YouTube to allow them to dictate on how they shoot. So, without going too far into that, just wanted to say, you know, if you're looking at Anderson, buy it. If you're looking at Aero, buy it. You know, if you're a left-handed shooter, get the bad lever. You know, make that work for you. On a side note, I've mentioned it before, I think it's absolutely amazing that these manufacturers now are putting out completely ambi lowers, like the Riz 3 rifles by Daniel Defense, the Radiant ADAC lower. I think LWRC, if I'm not mistaken, has one out there. The industry is really taking leaps and bounds. If you are truly a left-handed shooter and you do not want to take, I think ADM, American Defense Manufacturing, has one as well. It's been out for quite some time, actually. If you still have a couple extra bucks and you don't want to do the bad lever, don't hesitate on getting an Anderson upper or an Aero upper, or another more affordable manufacturer's upper, and go ahead and buy these lowers. I think ADM Manufacturing is around $325 for the lower. Yet it's expensive. Radian, about $425 for the upper. Yeah, it's expensive. I haven't looked at LWRCs. I only saw it on a wall at a gun store one day. But if you feel like you need to have that, and you're only buying like one rifle and you want to sit there and practice and get good at it, buy that ambi lower. That'll work for you if you're a left-handed shooter. But you don't have to spend an additional $1,200 to $1,800 for an upper of the same manufacturer. You know, throw the Anderson upper on it, throw the Aero upper on it. It'll do you just fine. I hope you guys enjoyed the content today. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. Go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell notification. Also, I am building a new AR. I have a Radian lower for it. I ordered the Hyperfire competition trigger for it. I'm having DC Tactical in Huntersville, North Carolina build me an upper with their barrels. They're going to cut the barrel to work for me and what I'm looking to do with it. We'll have a further conversation when I do get my complete firearm completed and everything else. I'm going to pin and weld it to 16 inches, but I do have that coming, and I'll be reviewing that here shortly. Realistically, while we're on this conversation, if you contact DC Tactical in Huntersville, North Carolina, speak to Chad, speak to Cole, there's a couple other gentlemen there, I forget their names. They're really good guys who are down to earth. I'm paying about $600 for their barrels they make in-house. That's shooting nearly half MOA to MOA at 100 yards. with their upper receiver group, with the Midwest Industries. I think it's a combat rail, if I'm not mistaken. I never had one, but it looks cool, so I'm just gonna do it. It's like a 13.753 rail or something, and I'm just pin and welding the SOCOM flash hider, the 3-prong flash hider on it. But even though I have Daniel defenses, even though I have radium weapon systems, even though I have high-end rifles, here I am. I'm spending nearly $600 on an upper, and it's going to serve me just fine. It's going to do a remarkable job, and it's a 223 Wild barrel. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. Go ahead, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I look forward to our next conversation, and you guys take care of yourself and have a happy Halloween.